I'm Emily and I'm an educator at MOHAI, and this is Collection Connections Objects in Question, where we take a quick peek into Seattle history by taking a really close look at an item in our teaching collection to see what it can tell us about the past. Today, we're going to be exploring the 1962 Seattle World's Fair, and this is our artifact. But first, let's have a think. So, what do I think about when I think about the 1962 Seattle World's Fair? It's a really specific event, so I'm going to think about this really generally and broadly. So my first question is just, what do I think about when I think about fairs and carnivals? What are some things that I see, hear, or do at a fair? I think about playing games and going on rides and eating lots of tasty food and maybe learning something. At the agricultural fair, when I was growing up, I would see all sorts of animals and talk to veterinarians who take care of farm animals. And when I think about World's Fairs and what I might see, hear, or do at a World's Fair, I think about similar things. So I think about eating tasty food, but from different parts of the world. And I think about maybe watching a show, maybe getting to learn about different cultures from all around the world. And I think about, I don't know, maybe learning about new inventions in other parts of the world. And when I think about World's Fairs, I also think about the question, why? Why do people attend these? Why do people host these? And I think that that question would be answered very differently by different people. So for vendors, it's a good chance to make some money. For people who are maybe going to watch a dance or a performance of some kind, it's a form of entertainment. And for people who are planning the World's Fair, they might be really interested in boosting the local economy or building buildings and infrastructure projects. And there definitely are international events that are going on that are impacting what fairs look like as well. So thinking about 1962, the Cold War and the space race definitely influenced what the Seattle World's Fair looked like. And thinking back to other World's Fairs in United States history, a lot of those fairs really displayed cultures and resources from places that the United States had recently colonized. So there's a lot of things going on when you're at a World's Fair. This is the object we'll be exploring today. Our first step is just to take a quick peek at what we have here. And then our next step is to use our senses to make as many observations as possible. So starting with the materials, it feels like it's made of plastic. It's hard and smooth and it's black. And it's got a very plasticky sound to it. There are a few metal pieces kind of maybe holding things together. It looks like this is okay. So this is a lever of some kind. So moving on to parts and pieces, this thing moves. And I don't know if you can see that, but there, when this thing moves, something happens right in the middle, right there. And then this part here is also plastic, but it maybe looks a little clearer than the other plastic. And then looking at shapes, it's very rectangular. So it's got this rectangle shape. These pieces are kind of rectangular. This shape is rectangular. These shapes are rectangular. It's very square and cornered. And overall, it kind of reminds me of a set of binoculars. So I'm going to just kind of put my face up to it like they're binoculars, but I don't see anything. I see the hint of blue, which tells me maybe, oh yes, and when I put my hand in front of it, I see kind of my skin color, but it's all blurry. So I see blurriness. So not directly what's in front of me though, which is interesting. And just taking a look at the cover of the box, we do have some words here. It says Viewmaster, third dimension pictures in full color. So that's pretty interesting. So I think that gives us a really big clue that this might be for picture viewing of some kind, but I'm not entirely sure how this works. look at that. So this little packet here also says Viewmaster, and it says Sawyer's, just like this cover over here, and it says 1 reel, and it's got another piece inside that's this circular piece of paper, but then there are these pictures, tiny little pictures, on pieces of transparency or film that are in each of these little windows, and it looks like they kind of repeat. So this one over here looks really similar to this one over here. Now, on the front, it says Seattle World's Fair, Century 21, the amazing exhibits. And there seem to be little titles underneath each of these pictures. So I'm going to take a guess, and I think that it goes in this little slot here. So I'm going to pick this one here that says, Dining in the Eye of the Needle, the revolving restaurant. Pop that in there, and wow, yeah. So I see a restaurant for sure. There's lots of people at lots of tables sitting close together, and they're eating really scrummy looking things. And out the window, it actually seems like this restaurant is really high off the ground. You can kind of see the whole city out the window, which is really neat. So because this says Eye of the Needle, I'm thinking it's a play on words, and that this is the restaurant that used to be in the top of the Space Needle, which is really cool. And when I'm looking through here, it looks kind of like I'm there. It's pretty immersive in 3D. So that's really neat. So the Viewmaster works pretty similarly to the stereoscope that we saw in another Collection Connections video. It shows us the same photo from 2 slightly different viewpoints and shows us 1 viewpoint in each eye in order to create that 3D effect. Now, one way that it's really different from the stereoscope that we saw is that these pictures are so tiny. So there's something happening on the inside of the Viewmaster that's helping magnify these images for us. And it's also using light, like a transparency, in order to kind of brighten and lighten up these images. So this was invented in the 1930s, and it wasn't invented as a toy for children, which is how a lot of people kind of think about Viewmasters today. So, what does this tell us about the 1962 World's Fair? One of the things that I think this tells us is that this was a special event for people. So this was a place where you could buy souvenirs in order to take them home with you and share them with other people, which means that it was probably something that people were getting really excited about. And another thing I think we learned by taking a look specifically at the pictures that are on this Viewmaster reel is a sense of what it might feel like or look like to be there. So we got to see, or I got to see, what people eating in that restaurant looked like and what they were wearing and how busy it was, which seemed pretty exciting. I'm still really curious about how they picked what images would have gone on this before or during the World's Fair. I mean, how they would have known what people would have most wanted to remember about the World's Fair. So kind of picking and choosing, and also probably planning shots before the fair even happened. So that's something I'm definitely curious about. What are you curious about the Seattle World's Fair, or the Space Needle, or about World's Fairs in general? To explore some of your history questions, you can explore our online collection and visit the MOHAI website at mohai.org. That's mohai.org. And you can also email us with future topic requests for Collection Connections Objects in Question videos at education@mohai.org. Thanks for watching.